Okay, welcome back, and step 4 is where we're at. And step 4 is construction of the engine. So I'm going to get all the parts I need off the A sprue, and we'll get all these engine parts off, and we'll start gluing together the engine and get it painted up. So off we go. Alright, I'm going to start painting this engine now. So I will get my NATO black out, and we'll go ahead and get this little guy all painted up. I use NATO black instead of flat black or metallic gray or something like that, because this is like priming it in a sense. It's like putting down a base coat that I will add to later once this is dry. I will be going, I will be applying some dry brush work and some pastel work, some weathering pastels to this engine as time goes on, as it dries, as I work on it, whatever you want to call it. So NATO black I've found is the best for getting a part prepared for that sort of thing. A part like this, like an engine or anything that's going to be dark in color. And you know, a vehicle engine is definitely going to be dark in color. They live in a dirty, sooty, smoky environment when they're under the hood of a car or truck. So they are going to be dirty and dark. Now, excuse me, this engine isn't quite done yet. There's going to be some exhaust pipes added to it. So I will come back and paint it some more later. Right now I'm just painting what I've got done of it. And then I'll come back, put the rest of the parts on it, and once I have all the rest of the parts on it, I'll do the dry brushing and the weathering pastels and such. So we'll just let this dry right now. Once it's dry, we'll move on in the instructions and add the excuse me, the exhaust pipes and manifolds, that sort of thing that goes on this engine. Once that is done, it'll be almost time to attach it to the chassis along with the axles and wheels. Okay, so set this aside, let it dry. While that is drying up, I have this chassis to paint up. I'm going to use the NATO black on it also, for the same reasons. The other thing that's great about NATO black, besides making a good base coat for parts like this, is that it dries fairly quickly. So you don't have to wait like all day for it to dry and work on it again. So I'm going to go ahead and paint this chassis up, and I will see you when I get back. So this is the axles and the wheels attached to the bottom of the chassis. Next I will be putting in the drive lines from each differential to the transmission down there. And so far, so good. Here we are. The engine is installed. All the drive shafts are installed. The wheels, the muffler. The wheels turn and roll, which I'm happy about because it means I did them right. But there it is. It's all painted and ready to be dry brushed with the weathering pastels and such, and bring out some of the details of stuff. So yeah, that's where we're at, and I'm going to go ahead and be doing that next. And I'll see you when I get back after I get all that done. Or maybe I'll include it. I'm not sure yet. I'm kind of thinking I might turn the camera off for it, but maybe I won't. We'll see. Okay, I'm now using the Tamiya Weathering Master pastels, and I'm starting with silver. I'm doing the underside of this vehicle first, and this is just kind of the same thing as dry brushing, only these are a powder, a pastel. And so it comes with a little brush and a little palette right there with some colors in it. And you just sort of brush on the color and then lightly go over the work here. Now you got to make sure that the paint you have down is dry. If you hit wet paint with this brush, it'll get on the brush and mess it up. You'd have to flush it with hot water or something to get it cleaned up. That is if you're using acrylics. If you're using enamels, then the brush is probably ruined. It's basically kind of like a makeup brush. Okay, as you can see, I'm making some headway here. Just kind of go over everything real lightly. And it starts looking like that. It just helps bring out some of the detail, gives it some definition, a little character. So I'm still going to keep using the silver here, and I'll come back when I'm done with the silver. Okay, so I've turned it over to the top side, and as you can see, it's just the plain NATO NATO black that's on here, and I'm going to start putting the silver weathering pastel on it. And it will start giving it some definition, bring out some of the highlights. Now you can do the same thing with a brush and aluminum paint or silver paint. It's just called dry brushing, and it's another technique that works good for weathering and bringing out detail, stuff like that. Yeah, see, it starts making a difference. Starts making it look like it's got some character to it, instead of just the flat color that was on there. Okay, I've pretty much put all the aluminum pastel I want to put on for now. And I'm going to switch now to a different color. I'm going to go with this orange rust color that's right here, and I'm going to put that on lightly in certain areas. That'll give it a really interesting look. Here's how it looks so far. I've got the two colors brushed on. With these Tamiya pastel weathering pastels. And as you can tell by looking, I've not touched the tires yet, or the rims. I don't want silver on them. However, I may want to put sand or mud on them. Here are the sand colors and the mud. We've got kind of an orangish sand, and then we've got a light sand, then we have this mud. So I'm going to experiment a little bit. Let's start with the orange sand. Okay, here you can see this tire. I use the orange sand. Is that what it's called? It's just called sand, excuse me. I use the sand on this tire. This one I haven't touched yet. You can see the difference. Hopefully you can see the difference. I can. This one looks more realistic and, you know, weathered. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of the tires with that. And maybe, excuse me, and maybe put a little mud on them. Okay. That's about all the pastel weathering I'm going to do on this. As you can see, it's brought out definition and some detail more. Doesn't look quite so plain. There's the back side. Looks pretty good. Yeah. Now, I'm thinking of trying a little bit of the Tamiya, let's see, the Panaline accent color. I'm going to try a little bit of that. I got the brown. I'm going to try that in a few places. See how that works. Okay, I like it just the way it is. I think if I keep going, I'm going to ruin it. It's going to be too much. So, there is the chassis and the wheels and the engine completed. Okay, well, I think that's it for now. We'll continue working on this model kit tomorrow, I think.